Hello everyone, it's your boy K-Not Sasuke here, back at it again with another new spanking hot what if video. Now today's something a bit new. Now I'm pretty sure y'all remember my one video, the only Hat in Time video I did. Well, I was thinking about something and decided, you know what? That might actually be a good video idea. So, I'm doing my second ever A Hat in Time what if of today. Now this one is easy. Now this one, well, you'll see later. And just say you, Deku. Now, I'm not going to explain exactly, but this is what if. I need to make the name vague and ominous. Oh, I got it. What if Deku was taken by the Empress? Now, there's a lot of Empresses, but for those who've seen Hat in Time, you probably know who I'm talking about. The woman from the DDLC. Now, we begin our video with a young 4-year-old quirkless Izuku Midoriya. He's smiling, happy. Then he hears, "You're quirkless." He'll never gain a quirk, and he has no chance of being a hero. That was all those hopes were instantly shattered, like a piece of glass falling from the height of the Empire State Building. Absolutely obliterated. However, his mom still cared and loved him, and cared for him and loved him. However, one day while Deku was walking, he encountered a strange woman. A woman with what appeared to be a cat-related quirk. She looked somewhat like this. Or that. Now, what Deku couldn't unsee was the fact that he saw her lure a man into a alleyway and then just touched both of his temples, and both right behind his, and he basically touched, and the woman basically touched right the spot in between the eyeball and the ear. I don't know what that is. I think it's like a temple or something. I don't know. She touched both of those spots on her head and on the guy's head, and suddenly, well, imagine there's no mask. Suddenly, the guy's skin became pure black and furry. His ears began to stretch as well, and his eyes became white and black. Until he was a complete humanoid cat. As the woman then said, "Now go. Now. Now. Go and wait. Go to the base and wait for commands." The newly transformed cat person then scurried off. Now, of course, Deku was terrified. As he was about to leave when suddenly he came across and he saw right behind him, and he felt claws tugging at the back of his shirt. As he then saw the woman, as she then said, "And where do you think you're going, little boy? As she then said, "And what is your name, little boy?" Deku then said, "My name is Izuku Midoriya. And my name is Izuku Midoriya." As the woman then said, "Really? And what, pray tell, is your quirk?" As he then said, "I'm quirkless." The woman then and said, "And where do you think you're going after witnessing what you just saw, little boy?" As Deku then said, "Please, I won't tell anyone what I saw. Please." And she then says, "Sorry, but I, sorry, but I can't let you go telling police and adults what you just saw. After all, that would stop my plans a major megaton, or at least stall them. After all, nothing can fully stop me with this." As she would then summon behind her a orb which looked like that. A hourglass floating within what appeared to be a magic circle or sphere of different mixing colors. Basically the color of Void Termina's soul. As she would then say, "Now this, little boy, is something I stole from a villain named All for One. You could say I tricked him into giving me power. Into giving me the power, then I killed him. This power is not just any, however, little boy. It is the power over time itself. Behold, the timepiece. With it, it's a very powerful quirk, and with it, I can erase people from existence by making them never been born. I can alter fate, reality. I can alter fate and time. Fate and destiny are now merely playthings to me. However, I wonder what yours will be." As it is one thing I forgot to mention, it's nighttime, so she has no idea what Izuku looks like. As she then grabs the glowing what's it called? Yes, the glowing hourglass-shaped timepiece, and pulls it right towards Deku to see what he looks like. As she then looks at him, and for an atom of a second, she blushes. And for what appears to be a hundredth of an atom of a second, she blushes. Basically, for 1 picosecond, she blushes. As she then says, "I think I know what I'm going to do with you, boy. Come." As she would then place both of her hands on Deku's cheeks, just like she did with the other guy. But this time, instead of digging her claws into the person, into Deku, she would begin rubbing softly in circular motions until Deku grew ears and a tail, along with claws and fangs. However, not the full transformation. As she wondered why it wasn't going forward any further, and why he was still green. As she then said, hmm, do you under... Hmm, do you understand me? Go. Walk forward. As Deku would then tilt his head and would say, why would I do that? Now this confused the powerful old time manipulator, as she wondered why of all the humans in the world that she has done this to, why was Deku different? Why had he not bowed? And why had he not turned into a faithful subject of hers? As she then said, you might be worth some time. Very well then. You're coming with me, boy. As Deku would then say, wait, but what about my mom? As she would then say, you do not need a mother. After all, you're a cat now. Cats don't need mothers. Well, I mean, kittens do. And if you are a kitten, then I can easily fulfill the role of mother, if you know what I mean. Deku would then instantly begin blushing, hardcore, or blushing at that. As he'd then say, what? As she would then say, hilarious and adorable. And she would then say, now come, we do not have much time, and before someone comes here. As she would then grab Deku by the hand, and the two would walk over to what appeared to be a car, and to what appeared to be a black and silver hearse with a silver cat head on the hood. As the hearse would then drive away and would never be seen again. Now, we skip 10 years later. Deku is now 14. As we see a kid looking like this basically running to a bus stop. As he doesn't exactly trust trains. He knows they're faster, but he doesn't trust them. As he then said, one ticket to Musa Tafu, Japan. As the bus driver then says, Sure, hey, what's your name, kid? As he then said, my name is Izuku Midoriya. As then, and a red dot appears on the driver's forehead, as the driver then falls over dead. As we see a woman, and as we see a woman, we see a guy, in black. We see a person in black robes with only this part, not the cat ears or the second handle, but only this half, all the way up to that white line, all the way down to the bottom of a cannon. As Deku would then say, "Ah, crap, they found me," as he'd then run out of the bus station and would hitchhike. A couple hours later, he reached Muzutafu, Japan. As he then say, finally, home. As Deku then went to his old house, where he found and where he then knocked on the door. A short woman opened the door and answered and said, yes? As Deku then said, is Inko Midoriya here? As the woman would then say, you're looking at her. Deku was surprised. Last he saw his mother, she was very tall and skinny, not short and large. He then immediately thought, must be depression eating. As Deku would then say, hey, finally, I found you. Hey, Mom. Inko would then put both her hands over her mouth and would say, Izuku? What happened to you? How do you have cat ears and cat tail? As Deku then said, it's hard to explain. Basically, I was kidnapped. I escaped, and well, that's the end of that. However, the person that kidnapped me, had a powerful quirk called catification and called necofication. Yes, necofication. She she was able to touch someone by their head, by certain parts of their head, and turn them into a cat, and turn them into a half cat or a humanoid cat. All the others have usually yellow eyes and black fur, and look entirely like a humanoid furry cat. I mean, a humanoid cat furry. I am a special case. I don't know why. And Senko would then say, well, it's good to have you back. Now come. As Deku would then sit down. As Inko would then say, so, how have you been? As Deku would say, well, it's been a hassle. I'm sorry it took 10 years to see and to reach you. As Inko then said, oh, it's fine. I'm just happy I got to see you. I got to see you again. Deku would then smile, knowing that whatever happened is over, and the past is now the past. Or at least, that's what he thought. At that very moment, someone with binoculars was watching Deku. A person in a black robe and in a black cloak. As they then called up a number on their phone and said, I have him in my sights, boss. He's back in Muzutafu. As the voice, the person that the robed and that the hooded person was talking to would then say, back in Muzutafu. Good. Now go and get me. Now, bring him back here. Now. Or else. I'll skin you by your fur. or else I'll have your fur hanging on my wall. As as the person would then say, "Yes, ma'am." As we go to Deku, as he then walks over to Mitsuki's house and knocks on the door. As Mitsuki answers and says, "Inko told me you were coming. How have you been, Izu?" As he then said, "Good, good. Where's Kachan?" As she then said, "Oh, Katsuki, how can I explain it? After you went missing, even though he knew you're quirkless, he went into a how could I explain it exactly? Yeah, depressed state. He went into a state of depression." As Deku would then walk over to Bakugo's room and would knock on the door. As he would then hear a voice saying, "Leave me alone, Oma. Leave me alone, mother." As Deku would then say, "I'm not Mitsuki." As Bakugo would then run over and open the door and would say, "Deku? Is that you? What, what happened? How do you have cat ears and a cat tail?" Deku would then say, "Sit down, but it's a long story. I don't tell it to anyone, not even your mom or my mom. Please." As Bakugo then says, "Fine. Just tell me what happened." "Okay, hey Izuku." As Deku then said, "Got it." So what happened was 10 years ago while it was nighttime, I was out at a park with mom. I saw something strange happen, and I followed this woman and this guy. She turned the guy into a cat, into a humanoid cat, and used some sort of mind control on him. I tried to leave, but she caught me. She then turned me into this, but that's not all. She kept me in a room with toys and food, with toys and and glorious, delicious meals each day. There was always comfy beds, comfy blankets. Everything was to perfection. However, the one problem was that she considered me to be valuable to her. As she said, I was her most priceless object, and that if anything happened to me, she would he would kill all of humanity and then herself. As Bakugo would then say, "Holy cow!" As Deku would then say, "That's not even the worst part." She was very, how dare I say it, teasing, like an adult woman. And she was also powerful. I tried using my cat abilities to fight off multiple times. However, it seemed like she toyed with me each time we fought. The first time, she had not just her cat powers, but also a legendary ability which she got from a villain she tricked. The ability is called Timepiece, and it's called a timepiece. I can only guess some sort of overpowered quirk. What it does is allow the user to control basically over all fate, time, and destiny. As she has said multiple times, fate and destiny are her playthings. She now, as she would also say, she had many jewels, many treasures, items, objects, and creatures. She said, however, out of all her collection, I was the crown jewel. As Bakugo would then say, holy, how do you escape? As Deku would then say, I found... I'm not going to like this, but a villain helped me escape. And a woman helped me escape. And she paid the price dearly with her life. She was a woman who came by every day and gave them milk. Gave us milk. However, she risked her life to free me and she died. Turned into dust due to the ability of aging her to the point where she is dust and ash. As Bakugo would then say, holy. As Deku would then say, yeah. However, I escaped and I'm pretty sure she can't get me now. As Bakugo would then say, what was her name, by the way? And as then a voice from behind them said, what was this woman's name? Deku would then look behind and see Aizawa for some reason at the behind him. As he then said, who? As then Aizawa said, chill, kid. Your story checks out. I have a cop here with a lie detection quirk. We were worried that you were a faker. And were trying to kill Mitsuki and Inko. That's clearly not the case, though. I'm the pro hero Racerhead, or Shoto Aizawa. Now please, I'm also Bakugo's teacher. Now please tell me, what was her name? As Deku would then say, her name was Empress Nyakuza. This left the whole house shocked and silent. Till Aizawa then said, you're telling me you managed to escape the clutches of the number one villain? The most powerful villain in the world? A person who could literally deteriorate All Might into dust. As Deku would then say, yep. She never used her time powers on me. Or at least not for harming me. The only time she used that ability on me was to make myself de-age and look young and be younger. As she said herself, she didn't want her crown jewel of her collection she didn't want the crown jewel of her collection withering to nothingness. As then Aizawa then said, well, why don't you join my school? You already seem to be a friend of Bakugo's, and if what you're saying is true, you could be a powerful hero. As Deku would then say, but I originally didn't have a quirk and I still don't. These are only cat abilities I was bestowed upon and they can't be taken off. Not even with your quirk, Eraserhead. As Eraserhead would then say, well, you think I fight with only my quirk? Heck no. I use martial arts and fighting skills. And I'm still pretty powerful. As Deku would then say, holy. Then yes, I'd love to accept. I then say, good. Now follow me. As the two then left for UA. Meanwhile, with Nezu, Principal Nezu was looking at a old portrait or a picture. It showed him and a woman who looked like a cat. Of course, he was in a cage and he was on a dinner plate and the woman looked like she was about to eat him. Until Nezu smelled a familiar smell in the school. He then went to where it was, which was with Aizawa, as he then said, Aizawa, what's that smell? As he then said, chill out, Nezu. Your captor, apparently she turned a quirkless boy. She tried turning a quirkless boy into a minion, and instead, he became this. As he then said, come out, Deku, and come out, Zuko. As he would then walk out and would say, hello, sir. Nezu would then say, can you be trusted? As Deku would then say, yes, I can. As Aizawa would then say, it's not your fault he doesn't trust you. It's Empress's fault. You see, Empress was originally Nezu's captor. He's a humanoid, and pretty much he's a mouse with quirk. He was captured after he escaped his laboratories. The laboratories, which gave him a quirk, he was captured and forced to dance around like a court jester due to the threat of being devoured whole. She scratched one of Nezu's eyes, and she scratched Nezu's face once, cutting right and almost cutting his eye. As Deku would then say, holy cow, I'm sorry. As Nezu would then say, oh, it's fine. As long as you're not with her, am I right? As we go outside, as we see a woman knock on the door of UA. As Nezu, Aizawa, Deku, and a whole bunch of pro heroes would walk down. The pro heroes because of lunchtime, and Nezu and Deku and Aizawa because, well, they don't know who's at the door. As they then saw a bazooka. Like the full thing. Diamond tip and all. As it blasted a rocket at them. As Deku then heard a familiar voice saying, here, little kitten. You shouldn't have run away. The kitten shouldn't have run away from its mommy. Oh dear, you're already aging. As she would then and summon as the woman would then summon a hourglass-shaped object and would then begin using it on Deku, turning him younger by the second. As Aizawa would then say, "Stop! You don't even know what you're doing, and you don't know what you're doing to him." Ashiden says, "What I'm doing is protecting my object, and my crown jewel of my collection. Now come, Izuku, or else would you like your newfound friends to be turned into sweets, and to be turned into dust? And would you like the nice mouse man to be eaten as well?" I should then say, "By the way, Nezu, it's been too long." As Nezu would then say, "Listen here, you little..." I should then say, not in front of the child." As Nezu, I should then rush at Nezu and the two, and she would punch him through a wall. Should then, and a whole bunch of walls, as she would then rush through them, through the broken walls, and would fix them using her power of time to revert time around them. I should then break the floor and do the same thing. As the two were now in a basement like part of UA. As Nezu would then say, "Tell me, what do you want with the boy?" Ash would then say, "You really want to know? Fine. After all, it'll only be a couple of seconds before you're in my belly anyway. So I guess I can tell you some things. For your information, I plan to and to train him in I plan to train him and tame the boy, making him as docile as possible." As Nisha would then say, "But you're a villain, a warmonger, a murderer. Why would you want him to be docile?" As she'd then say, "Well, obviously, I don't want a husband who's cruel and unusual. Yes, I plan for him to be my husband, and I'll do anything to make those plans reality. Plus, it's already begun. Haven't you noticed?" Eh? Oh, even the intelligent Nezu hasn't. If you look on his right arm, you'll see my symbol. And you'll see the symbol of a cat on a black cat symbol and a black cat face on his arm. He is already marked as my mate. Now just sit still, and she would then extend her arm over to Nezu and would say, "Gotcha. Now, any last words before you meet your original fate?" As Nezu would then say, "I hope you rot in the flames of hell." I should then say, "Very well then." I should then say, "Enjoy your new home. Population, you." I should then open her mouth and would swallow Nezu whole. I should then say, and I should then begin writing a note that said, "This was only up the beginning, Izuku. Remember, once mine, always mine. And I mean always. And don't even think of talking to other interloper again. After all, those interlopers had to die, just like your friend Laura, and just like your friend Laura. Flashback, couple of days ago. Laura, also known as the Milk Woman, the woman who brings the cats their milk for free. Empress saw Laura as a rival for Deku's love. When she found out that as she helped him escape, she finally had a just reason to end her pitiful life. While killing her, she then said, "Ed, I hope you realize in your next life that he's mine and not yours." As she then turned her into dust. Flashback over. As she then placed the note on the door and on Deku's desk in Class 1A. As she would then leave. As she then say, "Soon, Izuku, you will understand all of your foolish resistance is futile, and you'll come to love me one way or another." And that is the end of part 0 of What If Deku Was Taken by the Empress. I hope y'all liked. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all later next time, and goodbye and skadoosh.